My name is Steve Corwin, and I'm the president of Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department. On behalf of Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department, we would like to welcome all of y'all to joining us tonight for this great event. It's a milestone that very few organizations, much less a volunteer fire company, meets, which is 100 years of dedication and service. So, with that said, if everyone gets seated, we're going to do a Pledge of Allegiance, and then we're going to do the invocation. All right, would y'all stand and follow me in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our chaplain, R.E. Dean, will bless the food. Mr. Dean? I'm on my way. All right, watch that.
Let us pray. Almighty God, how great it is to be here tonight to celebrate this 100th anniversary of Culpeper Company 1 Fire Department. We thank you, our Father, for those that came before us to make this company what it is today, that helped build this building. We thank you for that. And, oh Father, I thank you for letting me be with some of those older firemen. Now, it's no way that we cannot say thanks to everyone that had a part into this night. Everything is so wonderful. We thank you, God, for all these people that put forth so much effort. Now, Father, bless this food to our bodies, us to their service. Let us ever be mindful of the needs of others, for it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
All right, at this time, before we go into the meal, Senator Reeves is here, and he would like to come up and read a proclamation for us. He has another engagement, but we're fortunate and we're happy to have him here. So please give him your undivided attention, please. Bryce? Thank you, sir. Let's see if we can get that in. Listen up.
Thank you guys so much for the opportunity to be here, and thank you for hiring me. I finished 60 days in Richmond, and it's nice to be home, especially to celebrate something as significant as 100 years. I think we probably still maybe have somebody here that was 100 years ago. I think, Donnie, are you still here? You're starting to get 100 years ago. He's not even paying attention. I got you. Well, listen, one of the things that I have the unique honor to be able to do in the legislature of Virginia, one of the oldest democracies in the world today, is to make permanent something in the records of the annals for 200 years from now, when Virginia's still here and we're gone. This award that I'm going to read, this commendation, will still be part of the record books, and it's my privilege to present that to you all today. The unique thing is, when we present a bill, and this is no different than any bills that we have for any other thing that we try to make a law for, it has to be voted on by all the members of both parties in both chambers. And so, with your permission, Mr. President, I'd like to read part of this. It says, the Senate of Virginia, Senate Joint Resolution 79, commending the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department. It lists a bunch of my colleagues, agreed to by the Senate on February 4, 2024, and agreed to by the House of Delegates February 5, 2024. Whereas for 100 years, the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department has provided critical emergency services and worked diligently to safeguard the lives and property of Culpeper County residents. And whereas Company 1 of the Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department was organized and chartered in January 1924, with an original roster of 19 members, and J. William Swan as the first chief. And whereas the Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department's first apparatus was a 1923 LaFrance Brockway torpedo, and the department used commercial pumpers manufactured by Ford, Chevrolet, or Dodge for many years before purchasing a custom pumper in 1979. And whereas the Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department firehouse was originally located on West Davis Street in Culpeper, in 1924 the building was raised to accommodate construction of a new municipal building where the department was located until 1960, when it moved to its current location nearby. And whereas in the Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department's early days, members used canvas raincoats and leather gloves from local hardware stores, and some members used construction helmets or surplus metal helmets from World War I. And whereas the Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department has grown to become the busiest fire company in the Culpeper County, with a service area covering 383 square miles and more than 50,000 residents, the department answers 913 calls for service in 2023 alone. And whereas the members of the Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department are trained to the highest standards and equipped with the full range of firefighting and emergency response equipment, all purchased with donations from community members, and whereas the all-volunteer members of the Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department come from many different backgrounds and all walks of life, numerous firefighters has also served the nation in the military, and the department has proudly counted veterans of every major war since World War I among its ranks. And whereas over the years, the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department has benefited from the able leadership of 14 chiefs, all of whom have upheld the department's high standards, commitment to professionalism, and dedication to duty. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate, the House of Delegates concurring, that the General Assembly hereby commend the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department on the occasion of its 100th anniversary, and be it resolved further that the Clerk of the Senate prepare a copy of this resolution for presentation to President Steve Corbin and Chief Kenny Mills of the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department as an expression of the General Assembly's admiration for the department's long history and legacy of service to Culpeper County. Signed, Susan Clark Shar, Clerk of the Senate.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, sir. I want to thank Bryce for those wonderful resolution. So at this time, we're going to start eating dinner so we can get on with the rest of the presentation. We're going to start with our duty crew. So everybody all our members that's on the duty crew, please go ahead and get in line and start having your dinner. After the duty crew, all of our members and their prospective wives, I shouldn't say prospective, all their wives and spouses, please join in. We're not going to, it's our 100th year, so all the members go first. So duty crew first, all the members go next. We're going to go this way, we're going to go down along that wall and come around this way and go to your table so you're not in front of this table, all right? After the duty crew, the head table will go. So once we finish, all the other members fall in place. Once that's done, where's Gary? Gary Moore will start assigning tables to go. So as soon as they go, head table, let's go eat, and then all our members go. While this is being done, let me tell you one thing. Please look at all the monitors around. This is our history from 100 years that is being played on all the monitors. So please look at the history. This is our 100 years of history of where we started and where we are today. So please enjoy that while you're eating dinner. All right. All right, Mark, at this time, I think you got something you'd like to read from Ms. Spanger's office. Spanberger. Got it. I saw you. Got it? Thank you. Yes, sir. Again, we're doing this quite often.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Raborden. Can you guys hear me all right? My name is Mark Raborden from Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger's office. I'm here to present on her behalf a congressional record that we've entered into the congressional record of the United States Congress, commending and honoring 100 years of the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this really quick. Mr. Speaker, I rise to recognize the Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department, Company 1, for their 100 years of dedicated service towards their mission and aid in the preservation and protection of life and property from and during fires and their commitment to the Culpeper community. The Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department was born from a desire to help neighbors in need. Chartered in 1924, the department was first led by Chief J. William Swan and was comprised of 19 volunteers ready to answer the call. In the early days, they relied on their 1923 American LaFrance Brockway torpedo engine, which they housed on the ground floor of the municipal building. Volunteer firefighters used canvas coats and leather gloves bought at local hardware stores and donned World War I helmets, construction helmets, to fight fires. It was not until the 1950s that the volunteer firefighters got their first official fireproof gear. Soon after, they relocated to West Davis Street, where they are still located today. The Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department is a unique and treasured organization made up completely by volunteers from all walks of life. These brave individuals respond to emergencies in their community in their spare time. Through their service, they provide fire protection and life-saving aid to more than 54,000 Culpeper County residents and cover 383 square miles. What began as a dream to help their neighbors has grown into a strong organization that continues to uphold the founding mission set 100 years ago to provide emergency services to the citizens of our entire community, achieved through our principles of commitment, education, recognized standards, and professionalism. They today boast a membership of 65 volunteers. They answered 913 calls in 2023 with a fleet comprised of engine, a pumper, rescue engine, and more, all purchased with the help of their community through fundraising and donations. Mr. Speaker, I ask that my colleagues join me in commending the work and commitment to services that Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department Company 1 has carried out over the last 100 years. Their service to the community is invaluable, and I wish them all the best as they continue their work to help our neighbors when they most need it. Thank you so much.
All right, now we're going to go into auxiliary members. And with our members tonight and auxiliary, when I call their name, they will stand, and we will give you the number of years of service that they have with us. So at this time, I'd like to recognize Donna Alvey, 5 years. LZ Burke, 6 years. Haley Burke, 3 years. Sandy Griffin, 37 years. Bonnie Kinney, 15 years. Ann Lassiter, 37 years. Karen Perriman, 18 years. That's our ladies auxiliary, and they are the ones responsible for all the decorations, and they ironed these tablecloths. In fact, I think Ann ironed them all, but these were ironed by hand up here on the ironing board this week, every one of them. So they didn't come from the cleaners. They were by the ladies and everything. So thank you. At this time, I'd like to recognize Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department members that are here in memory of our deceased members. Darlene Breeden, Please stand. Oh, well. Linda Carpenter. Ashton Franklin. Gloria Haynes. John, please stand. Charlotte Lillard. Is Jamie Weekly here? All right. Deborah White. And Helen Walter could not be here, so Carol and there's Carol, please. And yes, got two of them, Kenny. The other one's granddaughter. Yes. All right, the members unable to join us tonight. These were the deceased members' family. Was Miss Helen Walters, Miss Jewel Haynes, Mrs. John Stevens, our member Warren Rollins, our member Tommy Ross, and our member Elwood Smoot, who could not be with us tonight. Now, here comes to me, one of the most important parts of the evening. I have the privilege of announcing all of our members. We're starting in alphabetical order, and we'll be given behind their name the number of years of service. Once I call your name, please stand and remain standing, please. So let's start. Richard Alvey, 25 years. Steve Baker, 14 years. Luca Banks, she's a new member. I'm going to announce 10 new members tonight that have less than a year's service, which goes to our recruitment program and what we're doing. It says a lot about this department. So, Luca, please stand. Joey Bladell, 20 years. Scott Botham, 2 years. Don O'Branger, 3 years. Ryan Brent, 7 years. Bill Bryce, 8 years. Brian Schoser, 7 years. Steve Corbin, 52 years. Mike Corbin, there's some resemblance if you can tell, 41 years. Draco Kropp, that's a new member. R.E. Dean, 64 years. Not only is R.E. the longest serving member of this department, he's the longest serving volunteer member of any department in Culpeper County. Tamara DeLeon, 3 years. Tamara's mother is ill. She could not be here, but she has 3 years. Hunter Donaldson, 1 year. Ricky Dwyer, 47 years. Brian Edwards, 17 years. Bob Ellis, 7 years. Cody Fairfax, 5 years. Doyne Figgins, 15 years. James Figgins is a new member. James was with us before, but he's a new member. Joe Fincham, 47 years. Colton Fletcher, 9 years. And Colton's a proud father of a beautiful young baby right here, so congratulations, Colton. Willie Glasscock, 34 years. Wayne Green, 35 years. Jack Griffin, 56 years. Wayne Grimsley, 54 years. Alex Hall, 6 years. James Tyler Jeffries is a new member. Shane Kaufman, 8 years. James Kinney is a new member. Travis Kinney, 15 years. Aaron Kidwell, 7 years. Joe Cradaville, 30 years. Peanut McAllister, 56 years. And the uniform still fits. Brad McClellan, 2 years. Don Mills, 17 years. Our chief, Kenny Mills, 33 years. Joseline Miranda, a new member. Derek Morgan is a new member. Austin O'Hara, 7 years. Michael O'Hara, 7 years. A deputy chief, Charles Jr. Perryman, 15 years. And the president of Culpeper County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association, Joey Perryman, 27 years. Eliza Robinson is a new member. Bobby Scott, 41 years. Eric Scott, 8 years. Alan Seal, a vice president, 34 years. Glenn Smith, 6 years. Edward Sonnefrank, 5 years. Darian Stevens, 3 years. Malcolm Supton, 22 years. Alexander Testerman is a new member. Dickie Thomas, 34 years. Travis Thomas, 9 years. Alexia Torres is a new member. He's here. Sean Weeks, 6 years. Joe Weeks, 6 years. Elizabeth West is a new member. Ben Wilson, 15 years. Lee Wilson, 21 years. Joey Zecca, 11 years. This is a total of 1,128 years of service from these individuals standing and looking in front of you. This is the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department.
So the Chief's report. Our volunteers have sacrificed their time, as you've heard tonight, their energy, and in some circumstances, they put their health and lives in harm's way to provide emergency services to our citizens. The training program for our volunteer firefighters is a constant challenge and essential. With decreasing time available, limited budgets and resources, there are a lot of challenges to get the training that is required to become a volunteer firefighter. All firefighters need to be ready when the call comes in. The public doesn't ask if we are paid, career, or volunteer when they dial the 911 number. They expect someone to respond quickly, take care of their problem in a professional and competent way. Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department has been in service, as you have heard tonight, 100 years protecting life, property, and environment in our environment in Culpeper. Our number one priority is to provide the best service possible to all the citizens and visitors to our town and county of Culpeper. Also want to share that we are replacing one of our engines, what we call our pumper. At 20 years, we replace them. We signed a contract with a company called Four Guys out of Pennsylvania to build the new pumper to replace our 2005 Smeal. It is scheduled to go online, which means we receive the chassis at the plant. We are in line for our body of the truck to be manufactured sometime around October. A little bit of a backlog there. And we expect it to be delivered sometime first of the year, January of 25. The cost is somewhere between $970,000 to about $1 million for a fire engine. The same truck we replaced in 2017, we replaced our engine, and that was $760,000. So in just a few years, the price of trucks have gone up a couple $100,000. We've talked about our new members. We have 6 new firefighters and 5 junior members, which we're very thankful to have our junior members come into our ranks. We're mentoring them, and we hope they are here a very long time. Members with less than 15 years of service, we have 25 that are operational, the ones who actually get on the rigs. We have 2 administrative members and 5 junior members with 15 years or less of service. Active lifetime members that have more than 15 years of service, we have 20 operational members and 10 administrative members. Our ladies who were part of the auxiliary, we have 6 who are our associate or inactive members, and we also have 9 inactive lifetime members who no longer can get on the trucks or help with fundraising. We've heard tonight that we have responded to or been dispatched for 916 calls. 727 were fire-related and 189 were motor vehicle accidents. The good news is when we were dispatched, before we could get out the door, we were placed in service 200 times, so the community did not need us. 716 calls is what we actually responded to. We had 65 calls. While we were en route to the incident, we were placed in service. So we were on the scene 651 times in 2023. The good news is average response time from the time we are dispatched, when the dispatch dispatches us for the call, we're on the road marking up in 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Average time to respond to the scene is another 4 minutes and 56 seconds. So from the time of dispatch to the time we get on the scene and start our work, we are on the scene in 9 minutes and 11 seconds. That's not too bad for a rural department. On average, we have five firefighters that show up to respond to the calls. In 2023, we had 8 major fires, structural fires in the county and the town. We had 23 brush fires, which we had 65 acres that were burned. And we responded, our overall response rate was 99.7% of the calls that we were dispatched for. Total hours expended from the operational side, those of us who are riding the trucks, 6,698 hours. Administrative duties, which include monthly meetings, fire department events, public education, work details, parade, carnival, and fundraising, was 6,323 hours. Other operational duties, such as truck checks, station duties, special admin duties, was 4,308 hours. 532 hours was devoted to monthly training drills and other in-house training. 1,838 hours approved for Virginia Department of Fire Programs training. So total hours in 2023 was 19,699 hours. Calm down, Chief, I'll get it right. The estimate savings to the citizens of Culpeper is $550,000. That's just in wages. So that's all I have, Chief. We'll turn it over to
Goes to
Joe.
yeah.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Weeks. I'm the Assistant Chief here at Company 1, and I oversee the training for the department. So I want to take the time to highlight some of our members and their hours worked and their opportunities and trainings and things that they've given to the service of the community of Culpeper. So for starters, we had, just from monthly drills, in-house training, our members served 532 hours worth of training. In addition to that, in approved outside training and classes, our members served 1,838 hours of training. Some members that received some of their certifications, when I call you guys a name, go ahead and stand up. For the Instructor 1 cert, which is firefighters that have gone and received additional training in order to become an instructor and teach newer firefighters. We have Cody Fairfax, Ryan Brent, Scott Botham, and James Jeffries. So with those instructor classes come instructor in services in order to make sure that we're keeping up to date on all of the different standards. Wayne Green and Charles Perryman attended some of those. We have a couple of fire investigators and inspectors in our department as well, and they had to take some annual training in order to recertify those certifications. So we have Joey Bladel and Lee Wilson. We have a firefighter that went on and achieved their Fire Officer 1 certification, so it's an extra level of training beyond the basic firefighter certification, and that was Cody Fairfax. So we also, beyond that, have an Instructor 2 certification, and Edward Sonia Frank attended it and passed that class. We have 2 individuals that went on beyond the minimum certification, which is our Firefighter 1 certification, and went on to achieve their Firefighter 2 certification, which is Colton Flesher and Shane Kaufman. So there are certain certifications that you have to get once you become instructor called Train the Trainers in order to teach certain classes. So for the Firefighter 1 and 2 Train the Trainer certification, we have Ryan Brent and Cody Fairfax. Our very own Chiefs Kenny Mills and Charles Perryman attended a pipeline safety certification class. And we have members from the fire company every year that attend the State Volunteer Fire Conference. And we had Steve Corbin, Wayne Green, Wayne Grimsley, Eric Scott, Lee Wilson, Kenny Mills, and Joe Cradaville attend those. So to highlight a couple of members and some of the extra trainings that they've done, I'd like to recognize an individual that has attended a public information officer roundtable course, the live fire instructor NFPA 1403 certification course, went to a class called Meter Guys, but probably the most impressive one was he attended the Virginia Fire Officer Training Program that typically mostly is obtained by career individuals, and he was the only volunteer firefighter in his class to attend that course. And that was our very own Deputy Chief Charles Perryman. We have an individual that attended a VDFP, a Virginia Department of Fire Programs, Cancer Awareness class and Introduction to Technical Rescue, Lee Wilson. Another one of our individuals attended an Engine Operation and Forcible Entry class, which I believe was an out-of-state class, and a Mayday Firefighter Down, so how to rescue downed firefighters. We have Cody Fairfax. Not present tonight, we have an individual that attended a Vehicle Rescue Technician 2 class, so involving some more heavy machinery, heavy vehicles, Sean Weeks. We have an individual that attended a Confined Space 1 and 2 rescue class, a Rope Rescue 1 class, and a Vehicle Machine 1 class. I believe these were all out of state as well. Edward Sonia Frank. We have another individual that attended a basic pump operations class, Aaron Kidwell. And receiving their brand new fire investigation course, we have Edward Sonia Frank and myself. So those are some of the raw statistics that we have in our computers and stuff. One of the things that isn't captured very well is the amount of training that our staff and our firefighters do on their own time. One of the greatest goals and achievements that a training officer or any chief officer could ever ask for in an organization is when its members want to go out and train on their own. Not just on the nights that they're called to duty to respond to do training or attend certifications, but to go out and hone the craft that is firefighting. So we have individuals like Willie Glasscock, Ryan Brent, Cody Fairfax, Colton Fletcher, Ed Sonia Frank, Cody Fairfax, Scott Botham, and others, if I'm forgetting your name, that go out pretty much every Saturday. Ben Wilson, that pretty much go out every Saturday and train on their own time. To get together, figure out some trainings, go out, get on a rig. Shane Kaufman, go out and train on their own. So for that is absolutely fantastic, and I'd like a round of applause for them on that. Furthermore, Company 1 can boast that we have some pretty good training legends within our mix. We have individuals like Wayne Green, who has a sinus infection, is able to make it tonight, that has been recognized as one of the top fire instructors in the state of Virginia. We have Wayne Grimsley, that is part of the Virginia Firefighter Training Council. We have Joe Cradaville, that has been in the training arena in the department, in the state and in the country for decades, going around the country teaching different hazmat certifications. And we have our very own Ben Wilson, who has stepped up and gone out and started his own little privatized training organization and gone and done some, he has a conference coming up here soon. And these individuals are making waves and have made waves throughout the state. And I think it is absolutely phenomenal and wish them the best of luck with everything they do. All right, so I have one more thing to say before I get out of your guys' way. One group of individuals that doesn't have any measure of ability to track the sacrifice that they give to the fire service and to this department. And that is all the family members that are associated with all those names that I just read. The support that those individuals get from their family to go out and do this stuff and do all this extra training, hundreds of hours a year of extra time and training, is absolutely phenomenal. And without their support, they would not be here. So please thank all of them.
At this time, I'm going to turn it over to the other two chiefs to start the service pin awards, the top 10 in calls, and the top 10 in points. Chief?
All right, these are the link to service pins that we give it on a 5-year basis. Go down. All right, the first one's got 35 years is Wayne Green. He's not here tonight. The next one is Joe Cradaville. He's got 30-year pin coming in. The next one is Richard Alva. He's got 25-year pin coming. Next one is Joey Bodell. He got his 20-year pin. The next 5 firefighters have got 15 years of service, but they also get their lifetime pin. At 15 years, you earn your lifetime pin in this department. The first one is our Deputy Chief, Charles Perman. Our Captain, Travis Kinney. One of our ladies auxiliary, Bonnie Kinney. Dorn Figgins, he's not here tonight. And Ben Wilson. The next group got 5 years. The first one is Donna Alvin. Edward Sonafrank. And our little short fella, Cody Fairfax.
Calls, top 10 calls.
All right. All right, the next firefighters that I'll recognize is top 10 callers. At number 10, answering 165 calls, 17.9% is Scott Bobson. Number 9 is our lieutenant, run 168 calls, 18.3%, Eric Scott. Number 8 is firefighter Colton Fletcher, 179 calls, 19.5%. The next one is one of our board members, Lee Wilson, run 183 calls at 20%. Number 6 is firefighter Ryan Brent, 242, 26.4%. Number 5 is Aaron Kidwell, 262, 28.6%. Number 4 is myself, 326 calls, 35.6%. Number 3 is our Deputy Chief, Charles Perman, 327 calls, 35.7%. Number 2 is our Captain, Travis Kinney. He run 518 calls, 56.6%. Number 1 is Jack Griffin, run 856 calls, 74.7%. The next awards is the top 10 in points, and what it is, you earn points by attending meetings, going to fire department events, carnival activities, fundraising, admin duties, station duty, answering calls, attending training and drills, and other things. Number 10 with 223 points is our Lieutenant Eric Scott. Number 9 is Scott Bottom, 226 points. Lee Wilson, 280 points. Colton Fletcher, 284 points. Number 6 is Cody Fairfax, 323 points. Number 5 is our Deputy Chief, Charles Perman, 438 points. Number 4 is Ryan Brent, 497 points. Number 3, it's our Captain, Travis Kinney, 583 points. Myself is at 681 points. And number 1 at 853 points is Jack Griffin.
All right, at this time, it's my great pleasure to introduce a historian that is going to give you our program to reflect on our 100 years of service to this community. At this time, I would ask Donnie Johnson to come forward, please.
First thing, check your cards. B17.
That's right. You got it.
Anybody remember bingo in here? I didn't hear a single person yell bingo, so I guess we keep going. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, members of the fire company. It's an honor to be asked to come here and talk about this fire company. I'm not going to try to do 100 years in a short time, so you'll get out of here earlier tonight. If Virginia had won last night and was playing at 8:30, I could have probably put 100 years into a 2-minute speech. But they blew it. They blew it. Anyway, I'm going to do some personal recollections and some bits of history from this company that I've collected over the years. And I think we have to start with this company going back to April the 3rd, 1886. There was a gentleman got off the train, came up Davis Street, and behind where the old Newberry's building, some of you will remember that, he saw smoke. He alerted everybody, but by the time they got the fire out, all of Davis Street in the 100 block, everything except the Baptist church on the end and the Frey building on the other side of the street was burned. Culpeper had very little, if any, fire protection at that time. Maybe a bucket brigade, and they may have had an old hand pumper. I know they had a hand pumper at about 1900 because there's talk of that in some of the newspaper articles. But there was a need for a fire company. It was very evident. And it became more evident in 1888, 2 years later, when 3 big important buildings on Main Street burned down. Then in 1892, the Baptist church down on the corner of East Street, which had survived the 1886 fire, burned. So they had to come up with some kind of a fire department, but it would be 38 years after that first big fire in 1886 before this company was chartered. That's a long time. And between then, 1886 and 1924, there was very little fire protection. They had the old hand pumper, and they had it located over behind where the municipal building is now. But that was about it. And you got to remember here, too, that was protection for the town. There was nothing for the county. If there was a fire in the county, those people were on their own. So it was very important when this fire company was chartered in 1924. There was also a need for more training. On April 13th, 1914, 2 firemen, and as far as I know, the only 2 firemen in Culpeper ever to be killed, died on a Davis Street fire down at the low end of town. 17-year-old Carter Parr and 21-year-old Rob Rawson. They died fighting that fire. 1923, the local leaders began to talk about starting fire department, and the first meeting, as I understand it, was on January 10th, 1924. William Swan was the first chief. He stayed in that position until 1946, the company's longest remaining chief. And he was a merchant. He owned an implement company down on Main Street. And he was related, of course, to Doug Swan and Jimmy Swan, but he was Doug Swan's uncle. Most of the people that were on that first company, and most of the people who, for the last 30 or 40 years, for the next 30 or 40 years, were merchants, because it was to their advantage to have a good fire company, because they were protecting their own buildings. And I can still see some of those guys that, like Calvin Boxley, that's one that comes to mind. Calvin Boxley worked for Martin Furniture Company. He would come flying out every time there was the fire alarm would sound. And, you know, that was great back then because the businesses would let you off to go fight a fire. Well, Walmart, unfortunately, won't do that today. It's kind of hard for these companies to get firemen, which is why Culpeper has been so lucky and been able to get so many good firefighters over the years. Go back to 1924, and the first company truck they had was and I think we've already alluded to this, a 1923 Brockway torpedo. It cost $5,000. Well, let me tell you, $5,000 in 1924 was a lot of money. You could have bought probably one of the best farms in Culpeper in 1924 for $5,000. But those guys dug up the money, they got the truck. And once they got a good truck, then you could fight the fires out in the county. Then you could go 10 miles out. And I know in 1940, Christ Church in Brandy burned. And the Culpeper Fire Company was down there, and that fire was one of the primary reasons that 10 years later, Brandy started its fire company. The first company, the original company was stationed over in the municipal building. They built that in 1928. They finished that. And it stayed there until 1960. In 1960, Methodist Church moved, and they built this building, it's a great building, but I think you guys are about at the point of outgrowing this one now. And that first truck, I'll go back to that first truck in 1924, one truck. Now this company has, how many? 7, 8, 10 vehicles? All kinds of vehicles, and one on the way that's going to cost, as he said, about $1 million. That is a lot of money. I'm going to talk about a couple of fires that I remember, and I watched these guys fight these fires personally, up close and very personal. One was the Farmers Co-op fire, and that was in 1959. 1950s was a big year, or a big decade, for this fire company. In 1953, Gus Waters' place down on the railroad track caught fire. They had coal in that. That was a tremendous fire. And that burned. In 1959, the bowling alley on Main Street burned. And a month later, the Farmers Co-op burned out on Wausau Place. I was there for that one, and there's somewhere up there's a picture of one of these pictures that shows me. I skipped school. I came into town with Arlie Estes that morning to school, and I saw the fire, and I could not resist. I had to go down and see that fire, and I hope nobody, there I am right there. Look at that picture. You can see me walking with my school books trying to get back to class before the principal found out. In the 1970s, there was a couple more big fires that I remember. One of them was the Real Uniform fire, and I about met my demise at that one because there was a little brick patio, asphalt, or whatever it was, a patio, and I was out on that looking over, taking pictures, and about 1 minute after I walked off of that thing, the whole thing collapsed right down into the fire. So I got lucky on that. But these fires, I watched these guys fight these fires. I mean, this is hard work fighting those fires. I know there's a picture somewhere of, I think it's Tom Franklin, and I can't remember who else, but they're just absolutely wiped out. They are so tired and so hot. You don't understand until you do it with all that equipment on how tough it is to fight these fires and how hard it is for these guys to keep going in the face of danger. 100 years. Now, to the younger generation, that may seem to be an eternity. But you got to remember, Ari Dean has been alive almost 92 of those 100 years. So I'm not saying you're old as the hills, Diz, but when you put it in that perspective, then let's sit here and listen. We had 4 or 5 or 6 of you guys that have been on the fire company for over 50 years. That's over half the life of this fire company. And that's a great tribute to the dedication of these people. And it hasn't been that long in terms of, like Diz over here. He's been on this thing for 64 years. That's giving the community a lot of service. How does an institution last for 100 years? First of all, quality personnel. And this department has had some of the finest over the years. It takes hard work and dedication. There's a lot of effort that goes into keeping this firehouse and all the equipment, in good order and keeping the trucks going. It takes a lot of work, and it takes dedication. I mean, who wants to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go fight a fire in the middle of a rainy night? These people do. They will get up and go. And that takes a lot of dedication, and it takes money. It takes a lot of money to run a fire department when trucks cost $1 million. And there are a lot of people, of course, my favorite is the carnival. I always liked the carnival. I remember the carnival. I don't remember the carnivals that they had down on Fireman's Park. And most of you guys don't know where Fireman's Park was, but it was down the old Rixieville Road. It's right there where the roundabout is now. It's a baseball field. And in the 30s and 40s, they held the carnivals down there. I remember one year they held it in front of Floyd T. Bibb School at that field before Sycamore Park was built. Remember one year they held it down at the corner of the Old Brandy Road and 29. Jimmy Swan had a corner lot there. Of course, it's all filled up now, but they held it there. And then, of course, they moved out to Agricultural Enterprises, and I have fond memories of out there. I remember in the 7th grade, I was riding the Ferris wheel with Jen Lou Brown, and that will forever be in my mind. Some of you will know Jen Lou Brown, and you will appreciate that. Personal recollections, briefly. One of the things I remember a lot is hearing the old horn blow. Before you had all this technology, they had a big horn, and it would blast. I lived 3 miles out of town, and when that sucker went off, I could hear it if it was in the middle of the night. And as far as I remember, six blasts was a country fire, 4 was a town fire, and 2 a space, and 21 was the rescue squad. And I could sit there and I could tell you what the fire, you could almost hear the fire trucks going out in the middle of the night, and that would tell you what kind of fire you had going. As I said, in the old days, the businesses would let the firemen off to go fight a fire. They don't do that anymore. And now I think, as I talk to some of these people, you rely on professional firefighters a lot who live in Culpeper and work professionally out of town. And that is a big help to the local fire company, and I'm sure they appreciate it. Not everyone is cut out to be a fireman. It's a perilous job, and the dangers that claimed the lives of Rob Rawson and Carter Parr in 1914 are still there today. The difference is that the firemen today are better trained, and of course they have better equipment. Still, Every fire is a tragedy waiting to happen. Despite knowing this, the firemen on Company 1 rush out every time the call comes in. The community owes this and all the other units in the county a great deal. You're there when we need you, and we sleep soundly knowing that help is just a phone call away. The Culpeper County Fire Department has served the community well for 100 years. We, the citizens, thank you for your dedication and your hard work, and we wish you well for the next 100 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Donnie. Thank you very much. Wow, that was great. Thank you, Donnie. All right, I have one final thought. I think our chairman of the Board of Supervisors would like to speak, and then I'll have some closing remarks.
Wow, what a night. First, I'd just like to say thank you guys to the auxiliary for a wonderful meal, beautiful celebration, and this is really a huge, huge milestone that not a lot of any company can say that they have experienced 100 years of serving the community. Before I get into, I was going to kind of ad-lib this thing, but I think it's best after Donnie's presentation. I think I'd better go off my notes, but I just want to say Supervisor Deal, he reached out to me this afternoon and he was very distraught. He had a family situation come up and he wasn't going to be able to make it, but he wanted me to relay to each and every one of you all how much he appreciates what you have done for this community, and he apologizes for not being able to make it. That's probably going to be the end of my ad-libbing part, so I'm going to go off my notes here a little bit. It is a pleasure and truly an honor to be invited here this evening to provide a few remarks on this momentous occasion, 100 years. And after Donnie's presentation, I just wonder the changes that this company has seen from a dirt road down Main Street to where we are now with 54,000 people in Culpeper County. That's incredible. That is a remarkable milestone by any measure. The Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department Company 1 has been proudly serving this community for over 100 years. In all honesty, I don't know how this community could do it without you. I know that in that very long time, there have been so many dedicated men and women selflessly giving their time and risking their lives to help others. Countless hours have been given and many millions of dollars have been saved by the citizens of this community thanks to you. Not only have you saved this community millions and property values which you have saved. We are truly grateful for all that has been done for these many years and all that you continue to do each and every day. In addition to celebrating the 100-year anniversary of this company, we are also here this evening to celebrate several members of this department that have been here for over half of the 100 years, this fire department, since it's been established. 6 members of the Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department have served for over 50 years. That is real dedication, plain and simple, and it deserves recognition. So thank you to these long-serving members, and thank you to each single volunteer that serves. I can speak for myself and the members of the board and the community when I tell you that we are grateful and we thank each and every one of you. With that said, we have a list of those who have served, and I think we have a letter that was written. Is that right? Yep, right.
Here? Yeah. I think that's it. You got it.
So what I'm going to do is read off the names of those that have served for over the 50 years, and the Board of Supervisors has drafted a letter that I'd like to read and present to each one. So if you don't mind when I call your name, if you would, if I could get you to come up to the front for the presentation. Is that fine? Starting off would be our very own Mr. Steve Corbin at 52 years. Next is Wayne Grimsley, 54 years. Next is Jackie Griffin at 57 years. Peanut McAllister, 57 years. Not here tonight, T.W. Ross Jr. at 60 years. And next, Mr. R.E. Dean at 64, soon to be 65 years. Thank you.
Just a little bit so we don't cover up Paul's. Got to see Paul. Good? Yeah, there you go. You're good right there. Can we see you now?
Yes, sir. You were doing them a favor by standing back that way. So if I could, I'm going to read this one letter, and then we'll hand out these plaques. On the occasion of the celebration of the 100th anniversary banquet of the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department, we wish to recognize you for your service to our community. You have proudly served as a volunteer with the Company 1 for 50, and it's each different years for each and every one, 50 years. That level of dedication and selflessness is very rare indeed, and your commitment to serving your fellow citizens has been inspiring. You have freely given of your time in order to help others, and for that we are most grateful. I believe we speak for the entire community in saying that we are thankful for all that you have done and continue to do for Culpeper and its citizens. You have been instrumental in the success of many different projects, and this one here is for Steve, and we'll bring out the Red and Blue Santa Project, community service-oriented efforts. You have served in many roles with the department, including serving as president of the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department. It is with our sincere appreciation that we offer this letter in recognition of your 5+ decades serving as a volunteer. Mr. Corbin. Mr. Grimsley, you have been instrumental in the success of the department and so many community service-oriented efforts. You have served in many roles with the department, including serving as the captain of the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department, serving on the training committee, Virginia State Firefighters Association instructor, Virginia Department of Fire Programs, Culpeper Volunteer Fire Department parade chair, co-chair for 35 years. It is with our sincere appreciation that we offer this letter in recognition of your of your 5 decades plus of serving as a volunteer. Mr. McAllister, you have been instrumental in the success of the department and in so many community service-oriented efforts. You have served in many roles with the department, including serving as lieutenant, captain, and second assistant chief of the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department. It is with our sincere appreciation that we offer this letter in recognition of your 5+ decades as a volunteer. Thank you, sir.
And Paul, his name is Peanut.
Well, Peanut, I know. Peanut. I'll get that typo fixed. Jackie, you have been instrumental in the success of the department and in so many community service-oriented ways. You have served in many roles with the department, including serving as treasurer, assistant chief, and chief of the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department for 13 years. It is with our sincere appreciation that we offer this letter in recognition of your 5+ decades serving as a volunteer. Thank you, sir. Mr. Dean,
Yes, sir.
you have been instrumental in the success of the department and so many community service-oriented efforts. You have served in many roles with the department, including serving in the chaplain for the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department. It is with our sincere appreciation that we offer this letter in recognition of your 6+ decades serving as a volunteer. Mr. Dean, thank you so much, sir.
Can I get a picture with you guys?
And again, Mr. Ross is unable to make it tonight.
All right, you come around and take a picture with us, Paul? Yes, sir. Please. Wherever you like. We put you in the middle. Yeah, you furnished me good. Are we good? Yes. All right, now we come into closing remarks. I know everybody's anxious. I'm going to go to the thank yous first of all. Of course, Donnie, thank you for a wonderful presentation and everything. It was great, the way that you recognized this department and our history, so thank you very much. Culpeper Media, Jonathan, as always, thank you for everything you do. And Jonathan has been very instrumental in helping our IT group and our media, Ryan Brent, with all the photographs and our history that we've gathered. After tonight, with these pictures of this function and the ones you're seeing, all our members will get a thumb drive or get with 100 years of pictures. That is what our members will receive tonight as a thank you for service to this department. So once we get all this, it'll be downloaded, and every member will have this memory to keep with them. And also thank Ryan and John for the slideshow tonight. Town of Culpeper, thank you for allowing us to use Davis Street and additional parking. As always, we certainly appreciate it. Willow Run Greenhouses for the beautiful flowers that are here. And if you would like, grab one and take it with you as you go home this afternoon and celebrate St. Patty's Day. Our caterers, are they still here? We need to really thank them, because I can tell you that was a fabulous meal. So people grab, anybody staff can come out here. Where's Bob? Bob? Want to tell you that meal was wonderful. Thank y'all so much for wonderful. This is Bob, Blue Ridge Barbecue and Blue Ridge Seafood. Phenomenal meal. Thank you so much for everything you did for us. It was great. Thank you, thank you. We'd like to thank Ann Lassiter and all the ladies of Auxiliary for all the hours they put in decorating, getting the decorations, and ironing these tablecloths by hand. That's just truly amazing. So thank you, ladies, so much for that. In closing, I would like to say that I hope we can provide another 100 years. A few of us that received those plaques may not, but there's a lot of new ones, and we got a lot of new members. In closing, again, thank you for sharing with us our 100th year celebration. All right, thank you. The bar is still open. Socialize. Have a good evening. Be safe going home. Good night.